Then I'll come.
I'd like to call the meeting of the special meeting of the School Bond Advisory Board in order. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the February 6, 2018 meeting, and I'd recognize a motion to that effect. Been moved or second? Second. Moved and seconded. Approved. Next item is Independent School District number 89, 2007 and 2016 school bond issue financial information. Mr. Todd.
The financial information is in your packet. It's in its usual form, and there are representatives from the district here to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there questions? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. This next point is a joint resolution to recommend the City Council and the MAPS Trust to take all the required action to terminate this trust, finding that there are no outstanding contractual obligations chargeable against trust property, and that the City of Oklahoma City has voluntarily agreed to accept any such pending obligations to be paid out of the residue of the trust estate, recommending distribution of the residue of the trust estate be transferred to the City as beneficiary of the trust, finding that upon final distribution of the trust estate to the City, the powers, duties, and authorities of the trust estate shall have ceased, and recommending, as required by ordinance number 21805, that the residue of the estate be used to fund qualified school projects upon recommendations by Independent School District number 89 and the School Bond Advisory Board, and final approval by the City. Mr. Todd, give everybody a brief understanding of what I just read.
Okay. The MAPS Trust has been around for 16 years. Essentially, the work of the MAPS for Kids Trust has finished. There are a few projects that are still outstanding, and there's a little bit of money left over. And the council would like this board to oversee the remaining projects that are out there, as you'll see, similar to the presentations you'll see today. But the MAPS Trust voted to dissolve last week. The council has approved that today, and looking for your approval also that you will essentially assume the reviewing requirement of the projects. There is some excess money from the MAPS for Kids program, about $800,000. It will go into an account, a specific account with Oklahoma City, and will still be used for Oklahoma City Public Schools projects, but it will be done as we go along. it'll be somewhat of an application process, kind of like what we had with the suburban schools, but not quite that formal. But we will work with them to spend that money in its proper way.
So I'd recognize a motion to...
Let me ask you a question. Where would the applications come from? From I-89?
Yeah, it won't be, Mr. White, it won't be necessarily an application. I'm using that term loosely, but there will be projects that will come up that I-89 will ask that we use that money for a specific project, and then this board will approve that.
Well, there'll be, for lack of a better word, we'll call a filter for the projects that come up. We'll have to go through them first before it comes here,
It'll come through here before it goes to council for final approval.
and then to council. Okay. Yeah. I move approval.
It's been moved or second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, we'll vote. Approved.
Carrie, did we get the presentation?
So we're going to item 6 now. Recommend approval of preliminary report project ES 85, Capitol Hill High School and Spiegel Stadium roadway, parking lot, and storm sewer reconstruction.
We have a presentation today on this project. Lydia Leslie from Kimley Horn is here to talk to you about this preliminary report.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here today to talk about the Capitol Hill High School, Spiegel Stadium roadway, and storm sewer reconstruction project and parking lots. Today I'll be talking to you about some of the preliminary report aspects, the existing conditions, the overall scope of our work, our concepts on some of the design, the budget, the schedule, and then I'll answer any questions you have. As you all may know, the existing conditions on the roadway around the Capitol Hill High School and Spiegel Stadium is in very poor condition. As you see in these photos, there are large potholes, many large potholes, alligator cracking, all of that representing a base failure in the pavement. So our recommendation is for you not just to overlay that, but to remove the asphalt and prepare the sub-base properly and overlay and then create pavement for that area. The drainage infrastructure is also an important aspect of a roadway. The drainage structures are old with the roadway, and some of them can be utilized, but we are proposing some new drainage structures. Some of the structures are older and don't meet city regulations, and some of the inlets and the storm sewer system is undersized. So our general scope of work is outlined here in this picture. The blue represents the roadway project, which is the main project aspect of the concepts. With this, we are concerned about the safety and also the access of the site. So we'll be looking at the radiuses and designing those for the traffic for the bus. We'll also be looking at the on-street parking over to the west side and the south parking lot and a bus lane drop-off. The on-street parking area is to be utilized on the west side for the softball field and the baseball area and the football area. As you see here, we're adding 52 spaces with 3 ADA spaces. We'll also be adding sidewalks to that area to better enhance the pedestrian movement from the parking lot to the existing sidewalks. The south parking lot is also in our scope. This is located, as you see, between the Senior Wellness Center area, a main parking lot, and the parking lot to the west. There is an existing parking lot there now, but is in very poor condition. So this project proposes to take the existing old pavement out and replace it, as you see in the purple area that's shaded. The existing L-shaped, non-shaded area is the existing pavement that has been rehabilitated during one of the senior wellness projects. It incorporates handicap parking for the tennis courts that were placed in there. So we'll not be removing that pavement section and only in that purple area and reconfiguring it to city standards. The bus drop-off lane. As you see, the bus drop-off lane that's currently at Capitol Hill is directly south of the arena. And what this project does is propose to expand that bus drop-off area, as there's more than 4 buses that are incorporated for Capitol Hill. As you see in this slide, the bus drop-off lane we propose to extend onto the east. Now, the roadway that is proposed for the entire Capitol Hill roadway, existing is a 20-foot roadway, but we want to expand that to a 26-foot wide residential-type roadway. In this area, we think we can incorporate a little bit more area for the bus drop-off lane, by simply restriping the north parking lot area north of the bus lane drop-off. It would still meet city code requirements and the spacing of the parking and would allow for that extra space and protected space for the bus drop-off lane for the students. We also propose a sidewalk just north of the bus drop-off lane that would incorporate for the loading and unloading of the students. As I said, the drainage is an important piece. This outlines the drainage basins for the entire scope of the project and the existing storm sewer areas, what we propose. The orange area is the west portion of the site will be draining into a specific inlet and pipe system, and then the purplish blue area is the interior portion of the project that will be drained into a separate line. And then the yellow area is the senior wellness sites, and those drainage structures go to a detention pond and off to another main pipe on Walker Avenue. We propose the red line is a new line. We'd be replacing an existing portion of the line, and as you see the angled red line at a 45 degree, it would then outflow into an existing 36-inch pipe that's on the south side of the roadway. So we'll be utilizing a little bit of the existing storm sewer system and providing new. The yellow area is a proposed lateral line that we'll be also utilizing for that blue area that I just spoke of. Construction phasing, that's a very important part of a project, and we want to maintain, like I said, the access to the site as well as the student safety. So we recommend this being done in 3 different construction phases. The first phase being the pink area, so that would be on the south side of the site, and that would incorporate 1 lane of traffic. And we propose that area first because that's where the storm sewer needs to be placed, and we want to start the storm sewer from downstream to upstream, so that seems like a logical placement for that area. After that area is finished, then we would move on to the second phase of construction on the north side lanes. And then, again, you would still maintain 1 lane of traffic in that area. Then we propose that western portion, the yellow, to be totally removed and replaced and shut down. So we realize the function of access then is cut off to Grand Avenue when the yellow portion is being done. We propose that perhaps that we could take the buses and route them through the western parking lot by coning off sections of the parking lot for safety portions and having the buses route that way if we want to maintain the bus routes on the south side of the property. So the schedule, we're on track to finish the final plans and the bidding in June and start the first phase of construction in the summer months. And then as that's completed, we'll move on to the construction of phases 2 and 3 and be done with the project in February of 2019. The estimated budget for the project is $2.2 million. We propose to have a base bid for the roadway, since that is the most important portion of the project, and then add the other portions of parking and bus lane as add alternates. And at the time the bids come in, we can evaluate with city staff which alternates we would take. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Is the wellness center finished?
Yes. I mean, the parking was still being under construction the last time I saw, but it should be completed by now.
I think that's a great spot for the wellness center.
I have a couple questions, and some of it regards the wellness center. At one time, there was this storm about parking. Is everybody satisfied? Is I-89 satisfied that this is going to be all right with them? They're going to have enough parking there to meet whatever requirement they have?
Yeah, this is the agreement that we've come with them. You know, we added that additional parking space through MAPS 3.
Right.
And then putting this in there, we're all in agreement.
Everybody's happy for now.
Yes, sir.
The second question I have has to do with the property that's to the east of the building. As in a former lifetime, I represented all those people that lived east of there, and I cannot tell you the number of times that's all flooded to the east there.
You know, I remember that exactly. I've seen 5 feet of water in that little purple house there.
Absolutely.
That's why we provided 2 detention ponds with the wellness center.
And you're confident that this new impervious surface that we're building will not be back in that lady's house?
No, I can't guarantee that it won't still flood because of all the water that was already there, but what we have built will not exacerbate what the situation is. We provided more detention than, I mean, there was essentially no detention there. we provided impervious area that was equal to what was already there, and we provided detention for that. So we have decreased it, but we have not solved it.
Okay. The other thing is, was anything taken into consideration that the variety center that's there should move? I mean, this wellness center was designed differently than the other one that we have. It was designed so that children from that high school will be able to access that wellness center for the health side of it, not the therapy side, the recreation and the pool, but it's designed specifically so that that wellness center that's there for the high school kids can be moved someplace else.
Right. Item 7, which is authorizing us to negotiate with Kimley Horn to do the traffic study and space planning and the security plan, will address that. Now, the conversation I had at the last tour we had was that they may not be planning on moving that immediately. There is some time that will be there.
Well,
and that's something that will be worked out with this other plan.
Well, maybe this is not even my business in this trust business, but my view is it needs to go as quickly as possible, because the idea that you leave it there to see how everything works out will make sure that it doesn't work out, because the whole redesign of the wellness center was to have access for high school kids. And if you leave that building 100 yards away for high school kids, then something's wrong with that. That's like our great streetcar plan, where we build streets and then have a streetcar plan and then tear the streets up, which we're doing all over town. And I don't want to see us do that. I mean, I said we don't need to have to worry some way to get the traffic into the wellness center that we just built, because people aren't leaving the wellness center that can go someplace else to another school campus that needs it now very badly, since this one is on the campus at Capitol Hill.
Right. There's a dedicated driveway into the wellness center off of Walker, and then by redoing this road, that will certainly
It'll change the whole
give us
traffic thing, but it'll change. We need to be thinking about that moving. It needs to go. It could go to Roosevelt, or if it could go to John Marshall or some other place that needs what it does. We don't need to have two of them within 100 yards of each other.
Yeah, we'll talk to Randy and the school district about that.
Okay.
Further.
It may not be, again, it may be outside the bounds of this board, but it would be tragic, I think, to leave that wellness center there and not serve another school that badly needs it and wait to see how it works out. Because I can tell you what, if you leave it there, it's not going to work out. You're going to have a split. The volume's not going to be big enough for either one of them to make it work. It needs to go. It was a temporary building put in there, squeezed in that little space. It's time for it to, its temporary time is over and needs to go someplace else where it could serve another whole body of children.
Other comments, questions?
Yeah, quick questions on the parking lot. So the purple shaded area, you got the parking lot to the left, that's to the west, I'm sorry. That's new, correct? That's all new construction there?
Yes.
That one. And then going back towards the east, that will be completely all new parking lot,
Yes.
correct? And so the piece that's not shaded, is that already in place and brand new?
It is. I mean,
Okay,
when
so
we
you're just-
evaluated the project, there was already new asphalt there that were, the ADA spaces were constructed for the tennis courts.
Yeah,
And
okay.
someone did a lane of asphalt there.
Okay. What about a little bit to the south of the, I'm sorry, north of the orange line? There's a little parking up there kind of closer to the school. Is that parking in good shape? I mean, if we're going to have all new parking there, is there anything? I've lost some shocks on my truck from driving around this road, so I'm thrilled about this
Yeah.
this being taken care of, but I'm just curious about that.
That parking lot doesn't have the enormous potholes that some of the others do.
Yeah.
It's not in the best shape, but it's not as critical as some of the other parking. So our scope is only to restripe that, to cut the asphalt, to put in the bus lane and the sidewalks needed, and then to restripe that north
Yeah.
area.
Just, maybe it's a future thing, but it seems like if you're going to have all new blacktop, gosh, just coat that, stripe it. Everything looks really top-notch then, for you're there, type of thing. But obviously, that's in a project, so something to consider there. Another quick question. I think in that purple shaded area, what I've noticed there is what was really tearing up that asphalt was the trucks coming in for the dumpsters. So I don't know if we have a pad designated, a reinforced pad that would be set up for that dumpster, and preferably it'd be a gated area that they could go, get in, get out, shut it, so then the trash also isn't blowing around on our lovely Oklahoma windy days. But that's all, it was getting moved around, and the trucks were just destroying. That was overlaid, I think it looked like to me, and the weight of those trucks with those dumpsters was just sinking into those, was causing that collapse. So I don't know if we put is there a reinforced area where we can relocate those dumpsters? And I would, ideally, I think you'd want to gate that, so again, you can tuck it away for aesthetics, but also keep the trash where it needs to go as opposed to blowing around the campus.
And I don't know which specific dumpsters you're referring to, but yes.
They were in that purple shaded area before. Hallelujah. Do we got a reinforced area pad that's not going to, okay. Spectacular, because that tore that whole purple shaded parking lot up, was that. It just kept doing it over and over again. You're just going, come on. So, great job getting that accomplished there. And the drainage areas are just, you're talking about on the road. You're not, I saw these lines going through kind of the middle of campus, but you're really just showing where the existing lines are and then where they're feeding. You're
Right.
talking on the road is just the outlets from the road.
There are some existing drainage structures within the property. I mean, like for the stadium has its own drainage structure that does outlet to a main drainage structure within the road. The main drainage structures are south of the roadway, so we're going to tie in.
Replacing those on the roadway. You're not talking about going into the middle of campus and,
No,
Okay.
we're just going to,
Just wanted to
everything,
confirm
all
that.
of our new storm sewer construction will be within the roadway.
yeah, just wanted to confirm that.
We don't want to demolish any new pavement either, so
Would
that
be
was our
lovely.
scope.
Any other
It's
questions?
exciting. Yeah.
Thank you. We need to vote on this to approve the preliminary report for the Capitol Hill High School and Spiegel Stadium roadway. I recognize a motion to that effect. It's been moved.
Second.
It's been moved to second. We'll vote. Approved. We're going to go back to number 5, recommending approval of the preliminary report for Wilson Elementary School gymnasium addition.
This is a part of the 2007 bond issue that the MAPS office is overseeing. Jack Joyner from JHBR is here to tell you about the project.
Okay, actually, this is the preliminary plan presentation. It says final, so I apologize about that. This is preliminary. This has been about a 2-year process to get to this point, and we've worked closely with the MAPS, Oklahoma City Public Schools, Wilson Elementary staff, and also a group called the Wilson Focus Group. It's a group of concerned citizens in this neighborhood. I don't know that I can switch this. You will? Okay, appreciate it. This is the site plan. Scope of work, you can see the existing Wilson Elementary in the darker blue. You can see the new addition kind of in the lighter blue off of 22nd and Harvey Avenue. So the concerns with this site is where could we place the gymnasium that would be least disturbance during construction? Where would we place it that would leave the most amount of green space and playground equipment after it was completed? So that's how we came up with the location. There is no new parking. There is one modification to an existing drop-off loop that will lead to a new alternate for a new dumpster enclosure. We have new sidewalks. We have an alternate for a site fence to match the existing site fences on the site. We do have to relocate the playground, and we have to relocate the basketball court. It's in the footprint of the existing construction area at the moment. So scope of work for the building itself, I think you've seen several of these gymnasiums. The gymnasium is a storm shelter also, designed to resist 250-mile-per-hour winds. So you see the gymnasium piece in the light blue. Then off to the west of that, you see support areas. It has boys and girls restrooms, office, multi-purpose room, electrical storage, IT, janitor's closet. That will have a covered canopy that you see right in the middle between the existing school and the new gym. We are providing from the existing building, there's no current ADA accessible ability to get from the existing school to the gym, so we'll take care of that. You see kind of in the, where it says down in the pink area. And like I said, once again, you see an alternate for a relocated dumpster. Right now, it's just in the parking lot. It is not screened. It's not a good site, so we want to try and hide that if we can. You see also, again, the alternate number 3, there's a decorative site fence that exists around the entire school, so if the budget allows, we'd like to kind of mimic that in this new design. Okay, so these are exterior renderings. Looking northwest, you can see alternate number, I'm not sure what number it is, but alternate for the masonry pilaster and fence in the foreground. You can see this is the existing building on the left. As you walk through, the students will enter where it says gymnasium. That's where the covered canopy is. That's the lower level that houses the support spaces, the restrooms, the office, multipurpose rooms. And then in the background, you see the taller area. That is the gymnasium storm shelter. We do have several windows as part of the design process. That will be an alternate to provide those storm-rated windows. This is looking southeast. In the background is the existing 2-story building. In the foreground is our new gymnasium. You can see the design, the windows. It's meant to look like it wasn't an add-on. We want to make it look like continuous campus. And you see the relocated playground in the foreground also. This is kind of a step back looking southeast. You can see the way we've placed the gymnasium, see how we've left as much green space, open sight lines as possible. That was a big concern to the community. And this is the interior rendering. They are the wolves, so playing on that logo. I know acoustics is a big concern, so the yellow band that you see will be acoustical panels. We have acoustical structural deck and acoustical ceiling components hung from the structure above. You can also see the light, storm windows, the light that will be provided by those in the design. So this is just a color board. We've worked with the school staff to get the school colors, obviously with the MAPS program in Oklahoma City Public Schools for the specified materials. And then as far as the budget, the original program budget, you see there at $1.9 million. The estimate for this gym, $2.3 million. We are over budget. We are in a historic preservation district, which we had certain restrictions and more brick than previous gyms that we've done. So you can see the square foot cost. We've just recently bid 3 gyms, so we feel pretty good about those cost numbers. And then you see the 3 add alternates, the FEMA-rated windows, the playground relocation, dumpster enclosure. So when we get those bids, we hope that we will be able to fit those within budget and accept those. And last is the schedule. Right now we're in preliminary design, seeking approval. We'll move on to task 2, which will take us through approximately July of 2018, bidding through September of 18, and then start construction September 18 for a 1-year period until November of 2019.
Questions?
So this is from the 2007 bond issuance. I think it's a great project, a great design. I know it's probably some work involved with getting the finalized or close to finalized approval. But my question really revolves around the remaining budget that's available under the 2007 bond issuance. How many other schools or projects are still to be completed? I'd like to know that information.
I'll have to refer that to the district. I know that this project is budgeted, and that's where we've gotten our budget, so we're working from that. I don't know about the entirety of the 07 bond program.
And again, 2007 bond issuance, we have a 20% or 19.8% increase over budget, which some of it is due to the storm shelter and tornado shelter costs, but it is over budget. So with the remaining projects that need to be completed or schools that need to be still have plans finalized, I just would like to know that information for the next meeting, if possible.
Okay, for the next meeting. All right, we'll put that together then.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I've got a question. How do we, and I kind of looked at this a little too hard maybe, but the windows I get for $150,000, and I think this is why we were put on this board, is to kind of look at some line items. But I mean, I have a hard time understanding $90,000, almost $100,000 for the new dumpster enclosure. I mean, that just seems pretty exorbitant to me.
Yeah, it is. You see in the renderings, you've got the, you see the brick, the gates, but you have the foundation below it. So there are a lot of components to it. And we're hoping, right now it's an estimate, we're hoping that's on the high side, and hopefully it's lower, and we can be able to accept that.
I hadn't seen one come back that was on the low side, not too many.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I can't vote for a $90,000 dumpster enclosure, even at Wilson. I like Wilson, and it's a beautiful gym.
Yeah.
But
Well-
it's,
That's the good part, is structuring as an alternate. You know, we're not locked in, so let's just see what the price is. If it's favorable, hopefully that fits within our budget.
Well, and this is preliminary report. That's something that we could certainly task him with, is trying to reduce that and see where we are, maybe sharpen his pencil on that estimate when final plans come around.
okay, thank you very much.
Anything else?
Is there any, on the gym, are you able to put bleachers in there for viewing of, I'm thinking there's a police athletic league going on currently.
No, sir, there's no bleachers. It's an athletic play room is what it is for the students.
So what's I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but from the sideline to the wall, then, what are we talking about? How much?
Let me check the dimensions here.
Just for curiosity.
I think they're on there.
Yeah, I'd guess it's 5 feet or so, but this is consistent with what we've done at all the gyms, with the exception of Quail Creek, where they put in money. I'm sorry, Nichols Hills. You're absolutely right. Nichols Hills, where they gave money in order to widen it and add some bleachers.
Yeah. Now, these gyms are spectacular for, for the district, obviously, and I always have to, I've been in a couple of them, and I've kind of cringed that, God, I wish we had a little bit more width on here to add some bleachers, and then you can program this and do some really good things with it, so, but I'm not going to.
It's about 84 by 50, if I can read my small print here.
84 by what?
50.
Okay,
Basketball court.
old basketball coach, why would we do a gym without bleachers? It just does not.
Well,
make
that
any-
wasn't in our program to design that. I guess that's a question for,
It does not make any
The
sense.
gyms are not made to be spectator-type gyms. They are a classroom or a PE classroom, gymnasium like that, and then they're also safe rooms.
I understand, but elementary lacks space for a lot of auditorium types of activities, and that's what they use the gyms for as well.
Well, a lot of the schools have cafetoriums that they use for that. I'll have to ask the district for particulars on this, but like I said, this is how we were directed to proceed.
I understand. It just does not make any sense.
Anything else? I recognize a motion to approve the preliminary report on the I-89 2007 school bond issue project S70011B, Wilson Elementary School Gymnasium Addition. I need a motion.
Oh, motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved.
thank you.
Now we'll go to number 7, recommend receipt of the Consultant Review Committee report and negotiation authorization of engineering services contract with Kimley Horn and Associates, Project ES 86, Capitol Hill High School, Spiegel Stadium parking, traffic movement study, and building and site improvements. This is what we've already discussed.
Just briefly, this will answer a lot of the questions, this study will answer a lot of the questions that were asked during the presentation on the road, and that being, what is a better use of some of the spaces if the Variety Care Center moves? Can that be used for parking? Also, security entrances, better access for parents and visitors. Right now, everybody parks out on 36th Street, which isn't good. I go by there in the mornings, and up to 2 lanes are just packed, and when you've got to drive through that lane, you never know if a child is going to come out or not. So this study will help address all that and come up with a plan to address it. So this gives us authorization to negotiate with the engineering company. It happens to be Kimley Horn, which you saw earlier with Lydia, did the preliminary report. We went through the usual procedures where we put out a request for qualifications. Several firms responded. We shortlisted that, and we interviewed firms, and they came out on top.
Okay, I'd recognize a motion for this approval.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next Independent School District Number 89 to approve the roof repairs at Horseman Elementary School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $10,308.13.
Not much more to add other than that description. It is based on a bid contract that the school district has.
Questions?
Yes, I have a question, and it kind of has to deal from this point on our agenda. Is it new, or have I just noticed it new, not to exceed, and then a price? Is that something that you've always utilized? I thought it was just
We typically do, yeah, because that way, if the project comes in a little under, we're authorized to finish it under. It doesn't lock us in on a price, but it's not to exceed that price.
Okay, so this is prior to us going out to get the bids.
Well, that's part of the bids, really.
So what happens if the
I'll have to
bid-
ask Mr. Jewell, but or make sure he confirms, but as I understand, there was a contract that was bid for various items for roofing, and this is utilizing that contract.
Correct. I mean, a bid was put out a couple years ago that we solicited an RFP to get in pricing for unit pricing. So we have a contractor that we utilize now that bases his bids all on unit pricing. So he was able to go out. This one didn't need a whole lot of work done. As you can see, $10,000 is not a large amount of money for a roof repair. And so he utilized that unit pricing to establish a price for us, put it together. If it does come in less, then that for amount of unit pricing work that he does, then we reap the benefit of getting the money back.
How, just for house cleaning on our side, how can we utilize that not to exceed on anything else that we vote for in here, and not to have the change orders unless we do a change order, of course? Do you kind of see my question, or what I'm trying to get at?
Well, I think what this comes from is that staff goes out and looks at a roof, and they kind of measured out what they think needs to be repaired while the roof is still in place, but it's leaking. So they might come up with 40 square feet, and then they get a price on that 40 square feet. We may only need to replace 35 square feet.
Well, and on this pricing here, if you'll look at the breakdown, there's a breakdown that comes along with this price of the $10,000. The actual price that came in on this one here was $9,000 some change, I think it was. We incorporated 10% contingency on our roofing projects. So we asked for approval for everything, including the contingency, but we only issue the PO for the initial amount. And then, but by bringing this in front of you guys, we're showing you the fact that we do have a contingency money in place, if like we need to use, and that way it's already been presented to you guys as a 10% contingency in place.
I understand that, and that's part of the issue, because I approved these for 4 years, and every contract that came in, you took advantage of the extra 10%. You could just, yes. A lot of them.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay.
So it was kind of almost where they bid it, knowing that the extra 10% I was going to get. Not I, but the contractor was going to get. So that really, I know what you're saying, but that was almost given that 10% was going to go with the job.
And that's what I'm going to try to oversee, to make sure that we're not reaching the full capacity of these bids, because it is exactly what it is. It's not to exceed. But we want that to understand the fact that we're not hitting that every single time. There are going to be some times we're going to hit some of that 10% contingency, but I do not want to see that as a regular process going forward, so that you don't see it also.
I look forward to seeing the oversight. That's good. I appreciate that.
Okay, I need a motion. Been moved. Need a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Thank you. Next is recommend the Independent School District Number 89 approve rooftop unit installation at Van Buren Elementary School utilizing 2016 bond issue funds not to exceed $34,938.
Similar situation with rooftop units. Although, Gary, I believe these were bid site-specific. Is that?
Yes. Each one of these are different situations where either we have a rooftop unit that's beyond repair. This one was kind of interesting, the fact that the school was built in 2000. It was a new unit, a makeup air unit that was put on the kitchen. It had a lot of issues throughout the year. At one time, couldn't find out. If somebody pulled the unit off, they never put a unit back on. Kind of an ironic deal that we were sitting there with the kitchen without a unit on there for quite a few years, I've been told. So this is the fact that we've had our mechanical contractor look at it, size it according to, we looked at the original construction documents. It actually showed a 12.5-ton unit that was on there, and we've increased it to 15-ton because we feel like it's to meet the capacity of what we need for that kitchen. So this is coming back in. We got to put a curb. There's an existing curb there. We got to add a curb adapter for the new unit we're going to put on there, and then get everything working. Be a little bit extra electrical sizing to it. Hook it up to the existing gas lines and get them some AC in that kitchen.
Any other questions?
I have a question real quick on, so with these going forward, can we get timing estimates on these? I don't see that reflected in here.
Timing?
Yeah, so we have a not to exceed by a certain amount. I'd like to know the time frame at which
Okay, I can start looking at
we'd like
this
to
stuff
have
like that.
acceptable.
Okay.
Okay, there was a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next item is recommend that Independent School District Number 89 approve the rooftop unit replacement at Rockwood Elementary School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $14,670. Any questions? I recognize a motion for approval.
Motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Thank you. Next item is to recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve rooftop unit replacement at Kaiser Elementary School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $14,900. Is there questions? Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Then moves. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next item is recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve rooftop unit replacement at Belle Isle Enterprise Middle School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $27,148. Any questions? Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next item, recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve rooftop units and condenser unit replacement at Douglas Mid-High School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $48,129. Are there any questions? Is there a motion for approval? It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next item is recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve HVAC univent replacements at Capitol Hill High School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $106,875. Any questions? I recognize a motion for approval.
Motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Did I hear a second? Second. We'll vote. Approved. Next, recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve HVAC univent replacements at Classen School of Advanced Studies utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $35,625. Any questions? Recognize a motion for approval. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next one, recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve HVAC univent replacements at Southeast High School utilizing the 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $35,625. Questions? Recognize a motion. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next one, recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve HVAC building pump replacement at Jackson Enterprise Elementary School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $10,850. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, is there a vote for approval? I mean, a motion for approval? It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next one, recommend Independent School District Number 89, approve HVAC chiller pump replacement at Rogers Middle School, utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $12,368. Questions? If there's no questions, is there a motion? Motion. It's been moved. Is there a second? Needs to be a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next one, recommend Independent School District Number 89, approve chiller replacement at John Marshall High School, utilizing 2016 bond issue funds not to exceed $772,865.46.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
What's the life of a chiller? What's an expected life?
I believe it's anywhere from 12 years to 20 years, just depending on the situation.
Yeah, I was like looking at that, and I meant to ask this on the John Marshall.
That's correct, and I want to add to that on your question, this got to help on the question. When they designed that school, they put 3 chillers in, okay? On a heavy load, complete load, and hot time of the summertime or August, it took all 3 chillers to run full capacity, to keep full capacity of that school. What we've done, we've upsized these chillers. That's what they call N+1. At any given time, a full load, 2 chillers will handle the load, to where the third one will be an alternate. But each day, we'll have controls on it where 2 will definitely be running at all times, 1 will not need to be run. John Marshall is a 4-pipe system. So during the wintertime, it still requires a chiller to run to work the humidity control and everything else throughout the school. So this school, the chillers will be needed all year round. But also, by the way we're doing this, we always have redundancy. If we have a chiller that goes down at any given time, we don't lose full air conditioning of that school.
Yeah.
So it allows us full redundancy at all times.
Fantastic. Is that a 5-year warranty on those type things? or-
There's a 5-year warranty, comes with the chillers. And then the install will be a 1 year on the install itself, but the chiller itself is 5 years.
Okay, I was just curious. I was thinking about John Marshall, it's just been recently built, so, but okay, I get it. You're
It was built about 12 years
upsizing
ago.
it.
Any other question? Need a motion for approval? Move, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, we'll vote. Approved. Number 20, recommend Independent School District Number 89, approve chiller replacement at Taft Middle School, utilizing 2016 bond issue funds not to exceed $776,190.05. Any questions? Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next, recommend Independent School District Number 89, approve HVAC building and chiller pump replacements at Northeast Academy, utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $18,000. Questions? Seeing none, I'd recommend someone make a motion for approval.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next item, recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve purchase of band instruments utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $502,065. Questions?
Hi, Rhonda. Star Spencer, didn't they have kind of a big loss on band equipment, or did they get a lot of that replaced? I was looking at
They did have an insurance claim for some
Okay.
leakage damage, and we did replace that.
All right, so that's why
About a
they only
year
needed
ago.
$25,000.
Yes.
I'd also like to compliment you publicly on what you're doing with the band program in the district. It's pretty phenomenal. I've got to see it close up from the Roosevelt, from where you started and where you are to now. You have a varsity and a JV band, and it's spectacular what you're getting accomplished in there, so
Thank you so much.
congratulations on
It's a
that.
great band team.
Yeah. We're lucky to have you,
Thank
let me
you.
tell you.
Any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next item is recommend Independent School District Number 89 approve ice machine replacement at Oklahoma Centennial Mid-High School utilizing 2016 school bond issue funds not to exceed $3,489.63. Any questions? Seeing no questions, is there a motion?
Motion.
Been moved. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second, we'll vote. Thank you. Are there comments by board, staff, or citizens?
Just a quick question. So, looking at a lot of the things that we approved today, looks like Saker Mechanical has gotten the contracts. I just want to be on the record. I'd like to make sure that we are monitoring that closely as far as the projects as they're getting completed, as well as the aggregate amount that we're awarding. I'm sure you're monitoring that or paying attention to it, but I'd be interested in us doing that as well in the future.
Noted. Yes.
I want to clarify something I said earlier. I wouldn't want anybody to think that I don't appreciate what Variety Care did at Capitol Hill High School. That was a great idea. It's worked wonderful. It worked so well that we modified the design for the wellness center that's going to be there so that we could serve young people in addition to seniors. And I would hope that they'd understand that that's where I'm coming from. I could name a half a dozen schools in South Oklahoma City and probably that many more in North or Northeast Oklahoma City that could use that facility. I mean, it's been a great asset, and I wouldn't want anybody to think I was criticizing that at all, because I just think it's time to make it a great asset someplace else.
Thank you. Any other comments from anybody? Seeing none, we're adjourned.
See you later.